Well, hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today we are on the Can-Am Spyder, the Sea to Sky, the 2024 Sea to Sky to be 100% accurate. I want to thank VRP for giving me the opportunity to ride this beautiful machine. I am grateful. Well, today we are going up to Thomasville, Georgia. It's about 40 miles from my present location. You know, by the time I ride up there and ride around a little bit and come back, and I'll probably get in 120 miles today. Just an easy, you know, couple of hours just of riding, just to enjoy the day. You know, so many times we forget to carve out that time just to go out and experience life. You know, I've seen so much here recently about life, and you know, about worry and chaos and fear and anxiety and all of those things. And I know you understand that life is that way, and it doesn't matter if you're dealing with a major traumatic event or if you're just dealing with life, man. Life itself is super stressful. It can be crazy. But as we are en route to go get something wonderful and sweet, by the way, if you'd like to, you can put your guess down below. What am I going to go up into Thomasville and get that's sweet? Well, I'll tell you what, that could be a lot of things, couldn't it? Keep it G-rated though, baby. Keep it G-rated down there. But before we get going, give the video a big old fat thumbs up. All that, share it with your friends. I really would like for you to do that for me. So what are we going to talk about on the way up to the sweet Thomasville, Georgia, the Rose City, the county seat of Thomas County? Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about worry, and I'm sure that everyone can certainly relate to worry, whether it's one of finances, of health, of relationships, of just maintaining things that tear up, frustrations in life. So we're gonna do it from both sides of it too. By the way, we're gonna talk about ways to keep stress out of your life so you don't worry as much, and then we're gonna talk about what you can do once the worry starts. There are things you can do after the worry begins, when it hits. We're gonna first talk about the proactive measures that you can take in order to worry less. And these are things that I'm having to live right now. I'm just going to be quite frank with you, because if I didn't, I'd be pulling what little bit of hair. I guess I'd have to pull my armpit hair out. But yeah, it would be life would be crazy if I wasn't practicing these things. So mitigator number one is a very simple one, and you know where I'm going to go with this, and that's exercise. You know, exercise doesn't have to be a walk. It doesn't have to be a weight room. It can be anything. It can be calisthenics in your living room. It can be stretching, Pilates, that sort of stuff, yoga. You know, exercise is one of those things that it releases endorphins in your body. It's not a cheap dopamine hit like social media, which has the exact opposite effect. What it does is it kind of spikes the brain, and it's like having sugar and then all of a sudden you crash. You don't want to do that. You want to enjoy it, right? You want to enjoy your life. So if you can do a little bit of exercise. Now, number one for me is a walk. A walk is the number one exercise for me to relieve my stress. It does several things. It gets me out into nature. I'm looking around at a beautiful world. I normally have a dog with me. Dogs never complain. If it's hot, you sweat. If it's cold, you shiver. It really puts you in touch with life, and you're thinking about things out there that you wouldn't be thinking about when you're just sitting around worrying. So just going for a little walk can have a major impact on your life. You know, get up in the morning. If you can do that first, it's great, man. You know, have a little quiet time. Get out there, walk around for maybe, you know, 10 to 30 minutes. You know, you can go longer if you want. I prefer going an hour or so. But just getting out and moving those old bones can make a big difference. And especially if you are older, walking is a great thing. When I was young, it was running. I loved to run, and I had a high-stress job, and I was a running machine. But as I've gotten older, I enjoy the slower pace of a walk. It really makes me appreciate life. It gives me time to stop and smell the roses, so to speak. You know, we're going to the Rose City, Thomasville. So the next thing you can do is a hobby. Now, you know, hobbies are interesting to me because they can be healthy or they can be unhealthy. You know, again, I mentioned social media. I don't think social media is a very healthy hobby. That would be more of a habit, not a hobby. A hobby could be riding a Spyder. You know, I feel great when I ride the Spyder. My brain has to be engaged in what I'm doing. I have to focus on riding the Spyder and really measuring how I'm going to behave while I'm out there, whether I'm going to speed, whether I'm going to go at an appropriate speed, thinking about steering and braking and traffic and all of the things associated with it. And so my mind immediately escapes into this world of beauty of the movement of the motorcycle. The hobby of this is quite magnificent. You know, I also go riding on two-wheeled motorcycles, and that hobby is very fulfilling. You know, you may not ride at all, and that's okay. You could be watching this channel. You know, I have a lot of viewers that don't ride motorcycles at all. They simply come here for talks like these. They want to enjoy their life more, and they come here to get that. And I want to tell you, I'm grateful that you are here. You know, another hobby that I love a lot is I play. You ready? I play on the PlayStation. You know, I'm a big race car guy on the PlayStation. I play Gran Turismo. You know, my son is super fast, and I'm not. Now, when I say I'm not super fast, I'm faster than most, but I'm not as fast as the fast guys. But I can get on that game, and man, I can play for hours, and my brain is totally engaged in that car. You know, there's a lot more to Gran Turismo than just driving. Once you get to where you can drive, you learn to tune the cars, and when you learn to tune the cars, then you can probably cut 5 seconds off your lap time just learning to tune a car properly. Then it's all up to you, and you have to learn to drive better. I actually have a rig. I'll drop a picture of it right here. Yeah, I have a driving rig. It's not an expensive one, but I hope over the next few years to really upgrade it and probably spend a few grand on it. This is a habit that I hope to keep the rest of my life. It's something that I can do in inclement weather. It's something that I can do when I can't sleep at night. It's something to do that just, it takes my mind and I don't worry. I'm truly focusing on driving a car. And I feel like when I'm driving, I'm in Le Mans. I feel like I'm in Brazil. You know, I often wish they could adjust the climate of the room to match what you're driving in. So hobbies are great. You could be putting a puzzle together. Coach Vic loves doing that. There are a litany of hobbies, but pick something that engages your mind and challenges you. And if you do that, you're gonna feel better, because when you stop doing it, like when I get done racing, I feel invigorated. When you get done with a race, or you get done putting a puzzle together, you feel a great sense of accomplishment. And that is very, very important when you're starting to worry about things. Accomplishing something is a big deal. So something that doesn't seem like a big deal, it really is a big deal. All right. The third one is one that you probably don't want to hear, but it really is a good one. And that's chores. You know, if you can do more chores, you'll be happier. I like to work in the yard. I really do. I get frustrated at times. Like the other day, my lawnmower wouldn't start, and I had a clogged fuel line and had to work on it for an hour and a half before I could even start my chores. But even through that, when it was finished, when I had repaired it, I had a major sense of accomplishment in my mind. I'm like, man, I fixed the lawnmower. You know, I mowed the yard. It looks good. And I sat there and I drank my sweet tea and I sat in my lawn chair and I just appreciated the beauty of my chore. One of the things that I like to do is create a chore list. You know, you can even ask your wife for suggestions, or your husband for suggestions. You know, some would call that a honey-do list. But if you're engaged in it, you don't feel like someone's asking you to do something. You don't have a resentful heart. You know, just, hey, is there anything you would like for me to fix around the house? And you put it on your chore list, and then you start working on stuff. And you could do, you know, half of this chore and half of that chore, and in a week you may have 5 chores started, and in 2 weeks you have 5 chores finished. It's really nice when you put that check in the box. So chores are a great way of not worrying. So these are three things, three major areas that have a very, very broad application that can keep you from worrying before it happens. And I'm trying to be more on that side, more proactive to keep me from worrying. And I know you're saying, well, Coach, what do you got to worry about? Your life's perfect. It's not perfect. There's plenty to worry about. Suffice it to say that the more you can control that mind and take it to the proper place, the better off you'll be. One of the things that I do like to do every morning, and I'm going to use these words in a synonymous fashion, although many would not, is prayer and meditation. You know, clearing your mind and really focusing on what is good. Be still and know that I am God. That's that thing, man, that we're called to do. You know, I promise you, getting up early is worth the price of admission. The price of admission is getting up and seeing that sunrise. It's wonderful. So the prayer and meditation thing to clear your mind so that you can clearly plan your day, you will feel better. I promise you, you'll feel better. All right. So you've done everything right, but still something happens, and all of a sudden you're worrying. What can you do now? Well, we're going to talk about that. But first, we're just going to relax. So grab your cup of coffee right now and just enjoy this little stretch of road. And then we will have some strategies for what to do if the worry begins anyway. Welcome to Georgia. Well, I want to thank you for coming along with me today and listening to these ideas and these strategies, because they are really, really important, and they will make your life a lot better. I mean, a lot better. All right, what we're going to do, we're going to share one little set of strategies, and then we're going to get our sweet happiness, and then we're going to head on back to Tallahassee, Florida. Yes, I will ride, you know, an hour to do one thing and turn around and go back. It really is about the journey. You know, I could buy what I'm buying in Tallahassee, but I'd rather come up to Georgia because it's just going to be just a little bit sweeter due to the fact that I'm riding. And it's hot. It's hot. It's in the 90s. It says 90 on there, but I can tell you when this thing is stopped, it's brutal right now. And yet it's still magnificent. All right, so you're going along, you're minding your own business, you're having a beautiful day, and all of a sudden you find yourself worrying about something. And we're going to talk about the 3 C's. And the first C stands for catch. The first thing you have to do is catch that thought. You have to harness it. Figure out what's going on before it goes too far. You know, a lot of times, with me in particular, you know, I'll just call them visions. You might call them memories. But I have visions about the last few days of my daughter's life. And if I don't catch those thoughts early, I can go to really dark places, and it's a bad thing. It's not healthy. It's not healthy emotionally. It's not healthy physically. It's just not good. You have to catch those emotions. You have to catch those worries, you know, before they really take hold. Because if they take hold, you're gonna have a hard time shaking them. So the very first thing, and this is a habit too, by the way. This isn't something that you just naturally do. When the thought enters your mind, you have to be aware of it. You have to harness your mind. You have to think about what's going on. Why am I thinking that? Catch that thought. That dude got him a lazy boy. Look at that. So the first thing, catch the thought before it gets out of control. The next C is really important. You have to check it. Check it. Why am I thinking this? What am I accomplishing by thinking about this? What is the purpose of this thought? So now you're already diverting your mind. It's no longer, you know, I'm worrying about this or I'm worrying about that. It's like, why am I even having this thought? Is this thought going to help me? You know, you're checking it. You're analyzing it. You're really going through it with a fine-tooth comb. Why did it happen now? What's going on in my mind that's making me think about this? Why would any of this even matter? Why am I doing this? And if you can check it immediately and you realize it's junk, then that brings you up to the third C, okay? And that's change. You know, you can change that thought. You can do a lot of things with it. One of the things you can do is you can take it and go, you may check that thought and go, you know, this is a relevant thought. What am I to learn from this? Do I need to change the thought or do I need to change my behavior? You know, sometimes just telling ourselves we're going to change our behavior can take all the worry away. But more often than not, at least with me, most things that I worry about are things that have occurred and things that I cannot change. So I have to change this. I have to change. I have to redirect that thought. And when you change that thought into something completely different. So here's an example. You're thinking about something, and I'm going to use what I'm going through now simply because that's where I am. So let's say I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about a horrible thought about an illness where I've seen someone suffer, and I'm worrying about it, and it's happened, it's already happened, and there's nothing I can do. Then I go, why am I worrying about this? And the reason I'm worrying about it, obviously, is because I love that person. So I've checked the thought now. Now I need to change it. Okay. So now it's more about loving that person. Well, maybe I can change that thought into love. Us loving each other. Me holding her hand. Us going for a walk together. Us going to bike week together. Us riding on the Spyder together. There is a power, a metamorphosis that occurs in your thought process when you can check that thought and then change it. And you have the power to do that with that beautiful mind that you have been blessed with. You are an intelligent, thoughtful creature. You know, you're not a dog. You're not Pavlov's dog. When the bell rings, you don't have to drool. There's stimulus and there's response. If you're a dog, but you're not a dog, there is a moment between the stimulus and the response where you can make a decision. It's called exercising integrity in the moment of choice, as Stephen Covey says. And that's what we have to do, even when we're harnessing our mind. We have the stimulus, and as we check that thought, we have the opportunity to change it, to develop it into something that's beautiful, that creates growth. It's wonderful. And it has been very eye-opening for me to check my thoughts and to change them. This has been a mind-blowing experience and has been very, very powerful. So if you're a worrywart, whether it's your finances or whatever, it doesn't matter what it's about. The process is the same. And don't compare your problems to mine. You know, I got a buddy that goes, hey man, I got problems, but they're nothing compared to yours. That's not true. That's not true. Your problems matter. You matter. Your problems are a big deal, and they're big to you, which makes them big. So use the 3 C's. All right, well, we're going to enter the beautiful city of Thomasville, GA. Yes, we are. So next time you see me, we'll be riding on a cobblestone street. I bet you thought I was kidding that I'd be on cobblestone streets, but I wasn't. Look at this, huh? Isn't this cool? I love this, man. This is Thomasville, Georgia, man. What a great place. Lot of history here, a lot of beautiful stores. This is a place that if you have an opportunity to visit, you need to. This is real South Georgia, man. It's really beautiful. Look at the little courtyard there. Isn't that nice? People say good morning and good afternoon. Young people say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. It's really, it's got the DNA, man. It really is amazing. I love to bring the family up here, and we get up here, we walk around and hang out, go to old restaurants, eat fried chicken. Good food, good stuff. There's a Bronco. What do you think of the Broncos? You like them? You can just put down there Bronco cool, Bronco sucks, whichever one you think. I have my thoughts on them, but I think they're pretty cool overall, I guess. All right, we're getting warmer. We're getting warmer. We have arrived. You know, I love being able to lock everything up in that saddlebag. It's just awesome. The Sea to Sky, well, all of the RTs, man, they have so much storage in them. My helmet, my jacket, my gloves, my camera stuff, everything fits right there in that back bag. It's just awesome. All right, so where are we going? Oh yeah. You know, I'm gonna say this place has moved since the last time I was here. They're growing, I like it. Oh yeah. There it is, sweet cacao, baby. Not to be confused with just a sweet cow. You good? Hi, how are you? Alright, so this is a cup of coffee with lavender and cream in it. It's called a Savannah. Oh, well worth the ride, well worth the heat for this beautiful hot cup of coffee. It is perfection.
Are you part of the reward?
Let me show you how beautiful they packaged the truffles, man. Coach Vic is going to love these things. It is so good. I mean, everything is so good. Look at that. And there's what they look like. Oh yeah. You know, when you find a place that does it right, you just need to support them. They do it right here. Nice people, sweet, quiet place, just beautiful. Right in the heart of Thomasville. That was worth an hour in the heat. Let's get home and do some talking. What a beautiful day, man. What a beautiful day. That was wonderful. That was wonderful. I love coming up here. It is just such a great experience every time I come up here. You know what? I forgot to do my chin strap. Do you ever do that? I do that. Well, we have got another strategy when you worry. One can be drive up to Thomasville and have you a nice, beautiful cup of coffee. It's called the Savannah. It's got lavender in it. It was magnificent. It is the perfect cup of coffee. It is sweet with a nice little snappy aftertaste, and it still has the bark of the coffee. Just wonderful. Also, I want you to look at this beautiful downtown area, the courthouse and the Spanish moss hanging off the trees. First Baptist Church there. I mean, if that is not a Norman Rockwell Americana world view, I just don't know what is. All right, so this last strategy, it involves 5 steps, and those 5 steps are pretty easy to remember. It was funny, I had read about this, and Baba and I were in an oncology office, and she was worrying and having issues, and the oncologist and I had a big conversation about this strategy because she utilized it and she recommended it, and she said that her patients had had tremendous success with this. So there are 5 things that you have to do, and you're in total control of them, and all you do is this. You immediately, as you feel that worry start to happen, you know, all of a sudden the anxiety comes creeping up from that pit of your stomach, and you get those butterflies, and you feel your heart starting to palpitate or sweat or whatever you've got going on. And so you're looking for a way to escape it. Something can be done. Had a message from a chiropractor there. So the first thing you do, you feel it coming on, is you look around and you identify 5 things that you see. 5 specific things that you see. Like right now it would be a car, an SUV, a tree, a sign, grass, a manhole cover. Those are things that I can see, right? And the next thing is you think of 4 things that you can touch. 4 things you can touch. Well, because, you know, I'm on the motorcycle, I can still do that, right? I can touch my phone. I can touch my camera. I can touch the windshield. I can touch the handlebars. There's 4 things that I can touch. The next thing you do is 3 things that you can hear. Now you would say, well, Coach, you're on the Spyder. You can't hear 3 things, can you? Well, actually I can. I hear the wind blowing right now, and it's very quiet and soothing. It's almost like an app on a phone when you ask it to bring up sounds that will calm you down. You just hear that breeze blowing through the face shield. I hear the Spyder running beneath me. In fact, I feel the vibrations, right? You know? I hear the automobiles, the tires from the automobiles rolling in the opposite direction. So even here, there are 3 things. You know, when I sit at a red light, I can lift this. I hear the birds in the park. So as you start thinking about these things, right? So the first thing is you see, right? You can touch and you can hear. And here's the next thing. Think of 2 things that you can smell. Now, this one might be a little more difficult because you really have to think about your senses, right? Right now, I smell the pine needles. I smell the pine needles from the trees. I would have never noticed that had I not sat here and thought about it. You know, I smell the exhaust from the vehicles. You know, I smell that it had a little drizzle of rain while I was drinking coffee. We get those little mid-morning showers or mid-afternoon showers, and I can smell the heat coming up off the road, and it reminds me of when I was a boy. It takes you to a place. So you only have to do 2 of those, 2 things you can smell. So we're at 5 things that you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing, look around, you could taste. Now you're going, well, you're riding a Spyder, you can't taste anything. Well, I'll tell you right now, I can't observe it, but I can taste it. I still have the taste of that lavender, that beautiful taste, that after of the coffee in my mouth. You know, I could take my glove and I could taste the salt that's on that glove. You know, as you do these 5 steps, you are immediately immersed in the now, in your world, the now, what you're doing at this moment. You're not thinking about your problems. You're not thinking about your woes. And this works. It works unbelievably well. I mean, when I say unbelievably well, I mean unbelievably well. You know, there are other things that you can do, but though that 5-step process works great. I saw it work with a dying human being. You know, it took her fears away when she did it. She would laugh about it. You know, another thing that you know, I live by is this is something that we can do. This is a bonus for you, is your breathing. You know, breathing is something that we don't think a whole lot about until you can't, right? We don't appreciate oxygen until it's pumped out of the room. But before we talk about the breathing, the very last thing, I want you to do me a favor. Give the video a big old thumbs up. Share your comments about worry and stress down below and how that you deal with it, and if you have utilized any of these strategies in your life, because they work wonderfully. All right, so breathing. You know, the very first thing we do when we're born is we take that deep breath. And the very last thing we do when we die is take that last breath. You know, inevitably we breathe our whole life. That's part of it. You know, you can tell a lot about a person and how they breathe. You can tell how physically fit they are if they go up a flight of stairs. You can tell whether someone's afraid by the smell of their breath. You can smell the fear. You can smell the anxiety. I've smelled it on me. It really, breathing is a very powerful, powerful thing. And if we can harness that, we can do a lot of great things. It's a very easy thing to do, to simply take a deep breath in through your nose, count to 3 while you're inhaling. Hold it for 3 to 4, and then exhale for 3 to 4. Inhale for 3. Hold it for 3 to 4 seconds. Exhale for 3 to 4 seconds. If you do this 4 or 5 times, you're going to find yourself being in a different place. That was one of the things Baba told me. She goes, Dad, I'm doing my breathing exercises. It made her feel better. She coughed less, she suffered less, and she was more calm. You know, I worry a lot less when I breathe properly. There again, it's something you have to think about doing, and you have to harness that. There again, it's all about control, right? You've got to control that fear, that angst, so you divert your mind. And the mind is a very powerful playground, and the more that we can do these things in a very efficient and methodical way. You know, I will tell you, the breathing thing, when I go to bed at night, if I close my eyes and I do my breathing exercises, by the time I'm on my 4th or 5th breath, I'm asleep. Coach Vic's like, it's the weirdest thing ever. And when she does it, it works for her as well. She just tells me I forget to do it. It's not a habit to her, but it has become a habit to me, and it's really helped me a lot. Well, there you have it. Strategies to stop worrying from occurring. Strategies for once that worry occurs, how to slow it down or stop it altogether. All right. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to enjoy my ride home. I probably got another 45 minutes. I took a different route on the way home, and it is absolutely beautiful. These back roads are awesome. I know every cow path in South Georgia and North Florida. My son laughs at me. He goes, you get me turned around, and I grew up here. Look at this beautiful bridge, man. Isn't this great? There's a plantation up here where they do weddings, and every now and then, if you catch it at the right time, you'll see the little horse-drawn carriage going over the bridge. It's the most awesome thing ever. This stuff is just the coolest ever. I love the South, man. I love the green pine trees. I love the smell of the outdoors. It just makes me a happy boy. I am one lucky boy. All right. Well, there you have it. Another one in the books. I want you to do me a favor. You, yes, you, go out, buy the motorcycle of your dreams, eat right, take care of yourself. Remember, if you're not having fun, you are definitely doing it wrong. Now you go seize the day, and I will see you on the road or the trail real soon.